Welcome, 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 everybody. This is your brand buddy, Patrick Sesko, and welcome to another episode of Brand Marks the Spot, a show where we talk about all things branding and design and how to leverage those things to impact more people, increase your brand presence, and grow your business. And today, I've got a very special guest coming on. His name is Bobby Klink, and I'll let him do a little bit of an introduction of himself. But before we get started, I want to say... And where is it? There we go. That this show is brought to you by my free brand roadmap that you can download at patricksesko.com/brand roadmap. And this is basically to help if you're an overwhelmed entrepreneur just starting out or trying to grow your business. This gives you a roadmap on how to build your brand from scratch all the way to delivery. So go ahead and check that out. And now let's get on to the episode. So today's guest is Bobby Klink. Bobby Klink is, as his podcast says, he's a renegade thinking Harvard law grad turned online entrepreneur. I know that's a mouthful. And he's an amazing coach. He's my coach. He's my mentor, and he's become my friend as well. And I like to call him the Renaissance man because this guy has got stuff all over the place. Covers all kinds of different contents and different offerings that he has, but he's really amazing. But I'd like to welcome my friend Bobby Klink. And now let me see if I can get him on here. Here we go.
There we go. Now we just got to get that roadmap out of the middle.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. There we go.
There
Bobby
we
Klink, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. And just so people don't know, I wore the shirt, so everybody knows who I am.
Well, you inspired me to make my own shirt. So
there you go. I love it. So actually, I didn't come up with this. Like my team, like they had this grand idea. Like, why try to buy T-shirts? Why not just make them? And so, like, members of my team, at least one of them has a shirt that says "Blame Bobby." So she wanted me to have a shirt that says "I'm Bobby," so everybody knows who she's blaming.
Right.
Which is an important thing.
You got to have accountability there, right?
That's right. Yeah. So, but I'm excited to be here because I love chatting with people and especially good people like you, Patrick.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And just to let people know, today is my birthday. So what better gift than to have you on? So happy to do that.
We got to get to the point that you're not working on your birthdays in the future. That needs to be the goal. But
well, this is fun, right? Yeah, I'd hardly call this working. I'd rather be doing this than admin stuff, anyways. So so tell the people who you are, what do you do, who do you help, and just kind of give us a little background of who you are.
Well, so I guess I'm going to take the whole hour with that because that's a big
Reader's
question.
Digest.
It's a big question. So I am a licensed attorney. I practiced starting in 2002. So from 2002 until about 2017, I was basically a practicing lawyer, and I did a lot of things. Worked at really fancy, prestigious firms here in Washington, D.C., where I am, including like one of my early firms. I was mentored by, a guy at the time. He was just a partner of the law firm that I called Neil. Now we have to call him Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch. But after that, I was a federal prosecutor, and then I went the entrepreneurial route. So since 2010, I've been involved in entrepreneurial efforts in one way or another. It started by being at an entrepreneurial law firm, a small firm with, me and two other guys. Then I started my own law firm. And then in 2017, working with a life coach, she asked me a question, "Do you like what you do?" And I said, no. And so she's like, "Well, why don't we change that?" And so since then I've been, kind of making the transition, and it started by me becoming an entrepreneur, offering legal training and legal templates to other online entrepreneurs, people trying to build a brand as a coach, a course creator, a membership site host, anyone basically selling information, and even like service providers. So that's where I started, and I struggled mightily at first. I was, 2017 was an ugly year. I don't know my total numbers from then, because at that point I was just kind of spending law firm money that I had from my law firm to build the business. So I don't have a particular separated out like thing, but I know I spent about $25,000 on a launch that made one sale for $629 or something. And then that woman asked for a refund, never having looked at the product.
On day 29 of the 30-day refund, right?
Yeah. But then also, like, I'd spent money before that. Like I had someone promoting me on a podcast. So, I mean, I was probably down. I don't even want to think about the number.
Yeah.
It was probably between 40 and 50 grand I spent in 2017 without making a dime. and I was
Mm.
ready to give up. I was about done. And I always tell people like the pivotal moment for me was on December 31st, 2017, happened to be a Sunday. I was in church and the pastor was talking about giving. Of course, it was about giving for the church, but broader than that. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make giving my word of the year for 2018.
Right.
That gratitude. And that shift like really changed everything for me. I just started giving more. And Patrick, you know this, like one of my core values I say is like be a radical giver. And so like this year alone, because of some things I did, like I let my first mentor, Amy Porterfield, include one of my legal templates in her online course. Like literally that decision, given the number of students she has, means I gave away maybe $2.5 to $3 million of value in that one little thing.
That is
Um,
radical giving right there.
yeah. But I was like, I mean, it is what it is. But I also give away my privacy policy, like to most people over their website. Whereas most of my competitors charge like, I don't know, charge $250, $300 for that one template. And I've given away, I don't know. I mean, I've given away at least 15,000 of those over the last 2 years. And
Wow.
so I've just made this shift and I started to see success when I did it. 2018 was like this. From April, when I kind of made my first dollar through the end of the year, I made $250,000 online doing
Nice.
this stuff. And I was doing it all by myself with no help, no team,
I know the
with
feeling.
nothing. I don't recommend that. But then like last year, I really, I started focusing on that again and kind of, building stuff out. But then people were asking me like, I shouldn't say people were asking me. What happened was one of my friends, a copywriter named Tarzan K, said, she sent me this note and she said something like, a lot of people don't talk about this, but to be successful in the online world, you've got to have an X factor. And she said most people don't talk about it because it can't be taught. But she said that I have the X factor on steroids. Well, that got me thinking. And I realized that like what it was that people were seeing in me. And I said, it can be taught. I'm just doing marketing a very different way. I'm doing it in a very traditional way, not the online marketing way.
Right.
And so that kind of started me on my journey. Now I'm known as the email guy in a lot of communities because I write some really kind of wacky, off the wall, entertaining emails that aren't the boring, here's my stuff, read it kind of emails.
Oh yeah.
And now I'm a business coach. People like to talk to me about, how can I help them build their business and give guidance, which I love doing. And my team likes because it keeps me from throwing monkey wrenches into our own business. So
Right.
that's me in a nutshell. That's the short version, by the way. I could have gone like 5 times that long.
No, that's fine. But I do want to actually touch on the radical giving thing because that was, I've always, you've always known sort of the golden rule, treat people how you like to be treated. And, giving is sort of, you don't give to get, but when you give, you get, right. But how did you how did you expand on that? Like what made you like, be like, I'm just going to go all in on this giving thing because you are a radical giver. And like, how did that come to be?
It's hard to say. Like, I mean, there's a couple things I do like to say. Like, I am a person of faith. I don't talk about it in my business all the time. I think in a lot of ways, I'm kind of living out lessons that I've learned through that.
Yeah.
But it's weird because a lot of people talk about giving in business, but the problem is they're talking about it as a tactic. They're
Right.
saying, well, if you give, you will get. And it's really this mind warp. I mean, or mind twist. I don't know what it is. You've got to get to this point. It's like Inception, maybe. But if you give to get, you're not going to get. And here's the reason why. People can feel it. People can feel that it's transactional. And I like to say, like, it's funny, that same life coach, and I will keep this at a PG level, but that same life coach, like, that helped me and asked the question, do you like what I did? She started, like, her hook was that she was a relationship coach for men to help them improve their relationships with their wives, significant others, etc. And so, like, one of the things she talked about is that a lot of times in relationships, one side or the other, tends to be the man, effectively is trying to barter for sex. Like that's what they're doing. They're doing things to try to get, and she was saying that never works because your wife can tell that's what you're doing. She can tell you're being nice so that. And it's kind of funny, like that clicked for me at some point in 2018, early 2018. I was like, it's the same thing in business. If you're giving just to get, people get it. People see that and it doesn't work. So you actually have to get to the point that you are giving joyfully without expectation and simply saying, the universe is going to take care of me, or
Yeah.
whatever higher power you believe in is going to take care of me. You can call it karma, you can call it whatever.
Yep.
But that's the way I viewed it.
Yeah.
And like,
It
to
can't
give
be
you an example,
conditional.
right? It can't be. It
Yeah.
cannot be in any way, shape, or form. And the thing is, when you do that, it actually does come back. So that's what I'm saying.
Right.
You've got to get over wanting it to get it back for it to work. But like I saw it, so my success kind of came. I joined Marie Forleo's B School program through Amy Porterfield.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was in this group with, I don't know, it was like 700 to 900 of my potential customers. And I was creating freebies like, here's the stuff you got to do to protect your website. Here's the stuff you got to do to protect your business, like generally like checklists and things like that. And I asked permission to the admin. I said, hey, I would love to just upload the PDFs in the group so people can have it. No opt-in, nothing. And they were kind of confused. They're like, wait, you don't want to, because they wanted to make sure I didn't want to opt in, because you're going to say, yeah, I'm just giving it, which again is a very weird thing to do. But I did that. And like, I would just go in there and answer questions. And also I figured out that I'd learned a lot about marketing by that point. So I was just answering questions in the group. Then I did my first kind of successful like launch, if you'll call it, of a product on May 1st of 2018. It was, I remember May 1st because I had set that as a date. It was a Tuesday. And I had no idea how I was going to try to launch this thing before the Saturday before. And I was like, I think I'll do a webinar. So I literally created a webinar, created all this stuff in like, what is that, 4 days, and did it. And like, I'd done webinars before that first time that didn't work. And this time I get done and I get on like I go into Kartra, my backend system, and I saw a bunch of sales. And I ended up having that time, I think it was like 135 people ultimately join what I was calling membership. It was really a course, but in that 2-week launch period. And I was like, wow. And so many of them were people from Amy's group who were like, if this guy gives this much away for free, I got to get his paid stuff. And so that was where it started. And it's gotten more and more. And like, I'm in masterminds with other, multiple 6 and 7 figure entrepreneurs. And like last year I said, you know what? I think I'm going to stop giving a checklist on the website stuff. I'm just going to give my privacy policy away. They're like, oh God, no, don't do that. I don't care what you say, I'm doing it. And
yeah,
it's worked. And now, like, what I like to tell people is now the success of my business, like, if you're in this world, a lot of people are talking about funneling and like, doing all these things to get people in your world. I don't do that. Like, probably half of my revenue comes from people who go on Google's, type Bobby Klink legal templates. They land on my website and then they go buy stuff. And half the time I'm talking, they'll go and buy like my $1,000 all access template library thing by doing that. And some people are like, well, that's just random and magic. It's not. What it is people who've seen me online, who've gotten to see the way I interact.
Yeah.
They're just going and finding it. And that's how they buy. And so it's, again, well, I'll step back to when I said, like, I'm using traditional marketing. That's called brand awareness. I'm basically doing brand awareness, marketing and advertising every day. And Patrick, I know you know all about this, having worked with corporate clients, but in the online world, people are like, no, it's all got to be like, a direct response. You're going to, yeah. And I'm like, no. And because of that, like I joke with my team, if they upset me, like I could actually put more money in my pocket, probably if I just fired them all and just went back and relied upon, just this legal stuff income. I'm not going to, but like
you have to break out your suit and tie again.
No, I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying, because I've got all this goodwill.
Yeah.
I could make a bunch of money, people just coming and buying my legal templates if that's all I wanted to do, based upon the goodwill and nothing else. And so that's kind of the big thing. And that's what the giving leads to. It leads to that goodwill, that everybody knows you. And that kind of attitude that you get from people, which pays off long-term. And that's the big thing. It's the long game.
Now, I am a member of your legal template library, and thankfully I got in on the beta on that one. So thank you for that. But that's, but again, I came into your world because I met you through Amy Porterfield's groups, and you were posting, you had the GDPR training you were just posting for free, no opt-ins. And I was like, man, this is amazing, because if you're starting a business, you need at least some kind of legal jargon that's going to be on your website, and privacy policy and all the things with the the Can Spam Act, and now recently the GDPR and all that. So it was just like overwhelming to try to figure it out. And so many people go without because, like you say, you're going to have to go hire a lawyer and spend, you know, $400 or $500 an hour minimum. And so there you're looking at $1,000 just to get that on. And they're probably just pulling it from a boilerplate, you know? So,
yeah. So here's the funny thing that you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, the GDPR training, because that is a whole separate story about how radical giving pays off. So, you're right. I decided, because like GDPR, if you're watching this, you don't really know what GDPR is or don't know the big, you know, brouhaha about it. It's a law from the European Union that affects anyone in the European Union, or if you have people on your list from the European Union. And it was a big deal back in kind of the late first, early second quarter of 2018, because it was going into effect like May 25th, I think, of 2018. And people kept asking me about it. And I was like, yeah, I got to go find a training. So like I go and I look, and literally I would go to these trainings and I would walk out and my head hurt. Like I didn't get it, and I'm a lawyer. Like,
that's scary.
I was like, this is crazy. And so what I did is I printed the law. I think I still have the binder with it somewhere, but I mean, it's like a 200 and something pages. And so I went through and I figured it out, and I said, I'm going to put together a training just for my community for free. I wasn't going to charge people for it. It was like a 3-day training I was doing. So I was like creating that. And this is while I'm being very helpful in Amy Porterfield's group. I'm just giving, and I get this email, and it's like an email from Amy Porterfield. I assume it's like a automated, you know, one of the random things.
Yeah.
And I open it, and it's got an audio message, and I play it. It's like, it's literally Amy for a message just for me saying, hey, I'm thinking about putting together some legal training for one of my courses, but I obviously don't want to do it. Would you be willing to be my co-teacher? Think about that.
Dang,
like at this point, I've maybe made $1,000 online, and Amy Porterfield, you know, a big, huge name, is asking me to be a guest teacher. So after I run downstairs, tell my wife, who looks at me and says, what, huh? Who?
Right. You're like,
Doesn't get it. Yeah. I mean, I run back upstairs and I sit there very calm. I'm like, okay, be calm. Don't be too, you know, don't be too anxious. So I type a response. I said, hey, happy to, you know, but, and I think I said, you know, I mentioned that I was going to be launching, you know, my thing soon. And I said, and I'm, you know, cause it was like literally it was on a Monday, and that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I think is when I was doing my training. I said, and I'm doing a big GDPR training for my community, so it'll probably have to be next week. And like, I hit send on that. And then like literally boom, I immediately get a response. It's like, great, hold up. Wait, what? GDPR training? How much are you charging? I might want to buy it. And her response said, no, I'm not charging for it. I'm giving it away. And again, she was very confused. But then she listens to it and said, hey, I wanted to have someone on my podcast to do GDPR, and I didn't know who. Will you come on my podcast? So I go on to Amy Porterfield's podcast and talk about it. At the time, I think I had like 800 or 900 people on my list beforehand. Within a week, I had 5,000 people on my list, like just overnight, because like she actually sent people to it. And again, all of that because first I was giving in her community so she would reach out to me for help, but also because I was giving of GDPR. So it was a no-brainer for her to have me on, because she could have me on and also know she could send someone like, and she didn't normally send people to other people's opt-ins,
Right.
but she could send her people to a reputable source to teach GDPR to her people. And so again, all because I gave and gave without expectation, without anything. And so that's what I'm saying. I know the power of giving, and I just lean into it more and more. In fact, we're going to be announcing something in December that I think will kind of shock some people about some things we've got planned to just be an even bigger radical giver.
Oh, okay.
And I think people are going to be like, whoa, wait, what?
Okay.
Because it's something that has been on my heart for a long time, and we're going to be doing it kind of in the business space, not just the legal space.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'm excited. Can't wait. So building up.
So now, foreshadowing. That's one of those marketing tricks. We want to create open loops for people, right?
I love it. All right. So that's, and also just about that GDPR training, that's also a good example of sort of reacting to, topical things that are happening. Obviously, COVID happened. A lot of people pivoted and did things that were related to that. So that's also something to think about, just a little, and as an aside. So let's switch over to your branding, actually. Just so recently, we ended up working together on doing your brand refresh. And for those, in fact, last week episode was about brand refresh and what it was, but a quick uh, refresher on what a brand refresh is when you're taking an existing visual brand and you're tweaking it, you're expanding upon it, but you're not completely changing it and building it from the ground up. A rebrand is building it from the ground up. A brand refresh is basically expanding upon it to accommodate for your changing business or a changing market, right? And so earlier this year, you brought me in to work on your brand refresh, and I just wanted to ask, like, just so that way, I like to give people an idea of what's sort of in the mindset of a business owner to
Mhm.
what goes through their mind when it's like, hey, I'm going to decide to do a brand refresh. So what prompted you to like sort of seek that out and do that?
Well, I mean, I think there were a couple of things. A big part of it is, so my audience is, I would say 80 to 85% women,
Yeah.
business owners, not men. And my brand was very like masculine. And I mean, it still is, right? I mean, in some ways, like I can't get away from that. I'm not going to have pinks as my brand color, but literally my brand was,
I'm going to pull it up here because I have
yeah,
it.
I mean, it was charcoal, like basically black, but basically charcoal. Yeah. I mean, charcoal and orange. And like, that's it. Right.
Yep.
And so, you look at that and I mean, I don't want to say it's ugly, but it's very, blocky and masculine and those things. But also like it was kind of bland. It was the other thing I guess I would say. And bland because, oh, I
No,
lost you, Patrick. You
no,
there?
that's me. That's me because, I'm trying to mess with these dang controls.
So, but yeah, so I mean, it was kind of like, I mean, I guess the thing is like, I wasn't proud of what my website looked like, and I didn't really have a direction. And so I knew I needed to make a change, but I wasn't sure exactly what it was. And I think that was all swirling in my mind. And so that's why, I mean, that's why I reached out to you. You're in my community. I knew you kind of did branding stuff, and I knew you'd worked for like, things like I think a lot of people may know this. Like my brother is a graphic designer
Hmm.
and he can do like design work for me, but he's like from like graphic design for like punk rockers. Like that's what he's done
Right.
his life, and so I mean, he hasn't worked for kind of corporate like branding and stuff like that. And so I was like, I need to bring in someone who's done that. And so that was what led to the decision. And we're I couldn't be happier. We are,
That's good to hear.
we're probably I think we're about hopefully about a month to a month and a half from fully rolling out the last pieces of it.
Okay.
Because as you can imagine, I've got a lot of different stuff happening in a lot of different places that we have to change. And it's been a process, but we are, by the end of the year, we will definitely have it done. The last piece is getting the website. We have it all designed. It's just getting it built at this point.
Right.
But like little things, like I should mention it, like I never really liked my slide deck for webinars, for courses, etc. Even though everybody's like, oh, we love it. I love it. It's like, eh. And so I've got a webinar coming up this week. And so I decided like over the weekend, and this is like a great point because of the stuff you had created for me. And I still have to do some things like put some of the other pops of color in from a couple places, but like I was able to go into my existing like keynote theme and actually make it me in about an hour. And it only took me that long because there are 50 different slide types. And so I had to change
Oh,
it.
wow.
I had to kind of, expand out some of the paint graphics and things like that to fit right, et cetera.
Right.
But I guess my point is like, it took me an hour and now I'm sitting here. I'm like, I have a slide deck I actually love. And so that's the kind of thing that having that stuff you'd created made easy for us that
Yeah.
I so truly appreciate.
Oh, no, I appreciate doing the work. And I was just going to just kind of run through a couple of these things here. Like, so, this was your original brand, which, I mean, seriously, it's fine. It's very simple and straightforward and templated probably through the Kartra system. So we just took your colors and we expanded upon that, and we didn't change your logo other than add just like a little badge here. And then I'm just, and then you expanded your color palette.
Yeah,
And
and the teal, again, my team likes to use the yellow. The yellow is like one of those. I'm like, oh, okay, but I like the teal and I like the I like the purple
Yeah.
especially.
And it's not necessarily colors you would think of you would use for, someone who's kind of masculine's got the edgy look, and you know what I mean? It's and I love that sort of juxtaposition of that too. And so
Well,
we
and
roll.
actually, though,
Go ahead.
let me step back because, like, for people who don't know me, like, another big part of my brand is that it's fun. Like, I am fun, I'm wacky, and those things. And you look at that other one, it's like nothing about my existing site said I'm fun. It said edgy, it said whatever, but nothing says fun. And like, changing the colors and doing some of these things really has helped to add fun. Just like the little pops of color makes it so much easier.
Agreed. And so once we sort of nailed down the brand look and feel, I gave you some inspiration, your colors and some of these rough edges. And then you had worked with designers, and I kind of just pulled these off of your Facebook page, and they were able to interpret your brand based on the brand guidelines that I created for you. So you're not just pigeonholed with one look and feel. You have this, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a, oh, geez. I'm having a brain blank.
Well, I mean, basically, what you created is like you created enough to take stuff and basically say, okay, how are we going to make this, take this and make it fun? And we've got all kinds of interpretations. And now, I mean, just so you know, like, so this has come through a couple of things. One, we got our website. We went to like, website designers and found people, and Patrick, you've seen it, like, and I think the one you picked, actually, you said you liked the most was the one we went with.
Good.
And so it's going to be more fun and that stuff. But also then we went and my designer creates that stuff. And like we created my new sales page. And I'll just tell you, like, I posted it in my mastermind group. And again, this is with like, multiple 6 and 7 figure people. And literally, like, a lot of the comments were things like, I want to be Bobby when I grow up. Or I'm jealous, I've got brand in me now and things like that. And it was all because of that. And like what we're doing this last piece, like I said, we're getting the website built. And although I like my slide deck, we have someone who is taking the website design. It's the same guy who did our website design and interpreting that into a slide deck. So we will have, I mean, if you think about it, people go to my website, if people go to my trainings, if people go to a webinar, everything will be seamless and it'll all make sense and fit together. And like that to me is one of the coolest pieces.
Yeah. And I've actually loved how you've rolled it out just kind of a little bit slowly. And, it's evolved a little bit from when you first started. You're working with different designers and you're trying to sort of hone in that sort of look and feel, the nuances. And I love what you guys have done. So it's pretty awesome to see it.
And like, for example, like almost all of those graphics that you put up there were created by my like, based on the guidance you gave, by my Filipino VA. So like she's a design VA, that's what she does. Right. But I'm just saying, like, once you have the big guidance in and the big pieces together, it gets easy,
right,
to put the stuff together because you're kind of taking the brand guide, the toolkit, and all those.
The manual. It's the manual. Yeah. So the idea of that is you can give it to anybody, and ideally they'd be able to interpret it at least similarly to where it's, if you have one person doing things here and one person doing things there, when they come together, it's still the same look and feel. And, and consistency is important in branding, of course.
Exactly.
So, okay, great. So thanks for that. And I was going to say, like, I first came to know you as the legal guy. Of course, your legal templates are amazing. So I actually tell people where they can check out your legal templates, because every entrepreneur needs them. I mean,
So just head over to you can go to my website, bobbyklink.com.
Okay.
It's still the old one for now.
Okay.
But you can go there and there's like literally a tab that says legal stuff, or you can go, if you want to get straight to the legal stuff, it's bobbyklink.com/template shop.
Okay.
In there, among other things, you'll find the free privacy policy if you don't have one of those. And let me give you my rationale for giving that away, aside from everything else.
Sure.
That is the only template, the only agreement that I have that is legally required. And all the others are best practice. I'm going to tell you, you should do it. You should have it to protect yourself, etc. But the privacy policy is legally required. And so I basically wanted to create a way for entrepreneurs to say they can get the protection in place that they've got to have, that they're required to have without having to pay. And so there's a link on that page somewhere if you want it. But also then you can see all the different stuff. I mean, I've got packs all the way up from my all access pass down to individual templates. and you can find out all that info there. And if you have questions, my team can always answer it. But that's the place you can find all the legal stuff. And I think we still have a link on there. I have something called the Academy. We're going to completely refresh that with a new brand and all that stuff. But it's when Patrick joined my thing, the templates and the training were combined, and the only way you can get the training was to buy the templates. At some point I said, well, that's dumb. So I separated it out and I give the training away for free. Like right now, it's literally just the lessons from the training or, the thing that Patrick originally bought that are now called the Academy, but it's a resource for you to learn the legal stuff that you need for like to protect yourself. And then from there, it'll help you understand like, okay, well, if I need that, and it links out to templates if you need them and if you want to buy them. But that's a great resource to kind of learn the legal stuff, which I discovered most entrepreneurs, they don't want to learn it. They just want the solution.
I don't.
Yeah, and I get it.
In fact, I went without for years. I mean, I've been in business since 2005 officially, and I just only put up the privacy policy up like 2 years ago. So,
well, but again, there's that piece, but there's a subtler point, which is like I was making things complicated for a long time by trying to package up this big thing with training and templates. And then at some point, one of my friends said, I think people probably really only care about the templates.
Yeah.
And it's proven true.
So tell me what to customize and copy and paste.
Right. It's literally, and I get this. I mean, and let me say that there are some entrepreneurs who want to know, they want to understand the legal stuff. And so I have the Academy for free. But I get that most people are like, no, I just want the solution. You just tell me what I need, where to put it, and I'll do it. And so that's why now, what on the legal side, the only stuff I sell are the templates. Everything else, training, et cetera, you get for free.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So one last question sort of about, and this will transition a little bit to some of the other work and things that you're known for, which is like email and business coaching and whatnot. But since messaging and positioning are sort of integral parts of branding, how do you like balance that? You have the legal template thing. That's kind of what you started. How do you balance that? Because you're still selling that. I'm imagining you're still making a significant amount of revenue from the legal templates because it's so needed in the space. But how do you balance that messaging from the messaging of being a business coach and, like, oh, well, he's the Harvard guy, Harvard law guy. Like, what am I going to take business coaching from him? I want the legal stuff. So how do you balance that messaging and positioning?
Well, and I'll be honest with you, I've struggled for a while. And so that's like what I'm working on. I'm working on that now as part of the rebrand. We're going to change kind of like the, if you will, the tagline.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a couple of ways that I've already integrated it. Like one of the ways I integrated it is like, I use the fact that I built a multiple 6-figure business selling the most boring thing ever, legal templates. So I use that as like, hey, if I can build a business with this, I might know a thing or two about marketing. So you might want to listen to me.
See, that's genius.
So that was kind of how I did it first, like to say, look, and I mean, it can go deeper than that. Like I'm now using this messaging. Like I have this book that I always have like handy that if people don't know it, it's called Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. It was written in the 60s by a guy who's a direct response marketer. He was one of those guys who would write like, I think ads in like newspapers and mailers and things like that. And so it's all about literally not the brand awareness, the, headline, you need this, et cetera. There's a passage in this book that says that most copywriters believe it is impossible to sell preventative products this way. Well, a legal template is a preventative product.
Yeah.
He says he thinks you can, like, if you can make the person feel like bad things will befall other people if they don't take action, like bad things befalling you, they don't. But so like, I was chatting with mastermind friends and they were like, oh, I could just imagine you telling these horror stories about like people's marriages being ruined. I was like, yeah, but that'd be BS because it's not true. And I'm not going to do that. And so in a sense, like part of my messaging has been, look, I had to take a different approach because I was selling a product that you cannot sell based upon this standard online marketing.
Right.
And guess what? What I'm using is actually a better method, a more holistic approach. And so that's how I did it first. Now what I'm going to be doing, like, I don't even know what kind of the tagline on my website says right now. I think it's just kind of says this and this, or what we're going to do. And, the way I'm looking at it now is that what I do is I help online entrepreneurs build real businesses that will last. That includes the legal stuff, but it also includes doing the marketing stuff the right way, not the short, like I want the magic pill. I want fin to lose weight. But if you want a real business, you got to do the deeper work. And so that's what that's kind of how I'm unifying it. Cause to me, it's all the same.
Yeah.
It's being a real business owner. And that's what I'm teaching people.
Yeah. No, I love watching the transition right now. And speaking of your emails, when you send them, I throw them in a folder because, I'll use them for swipe down the road. So,
Yeah.
Let's see, where am I looking at my questions here? All right. So when I think you kind of answered this, but when somebody's first starting out, because a lot of my audience are newer entrepreneurs just starting or just trying to get their feet wet, or maybe side hustlers, like when someone's starting out, like what are the, one or two top must-have legal things that they have to have in place for the online business? And I think you said the privacy policy was the one thing that you give away for free. But is there anything else there?
So that's the first thing. Now let me give you 3 quick things. Number one, get your website stuff, because everybody needs that. You got to have the privacy policy, but you should also have a terms of use and disclaimer. Those are kind of the must-haves. Some people combine, like some lawyers would combine disclaimer and terms of use into a single document. I have it separated. It doesn't really matter, but you need those 3 pieces. Then the second piece is to start thinking about, you need to get all of your critical agreements in writing. So if you're a service provider, you need to have a service agreement, but basically just think, what agreements do I have that matter? And the test for this is, like, if the other side, the person on the other side, like, didn't do what they said, it would actually be a big deal for your business. If so, that's got to be in writing, period, full stop. If you're not yet at a point that you can even afford templates, write it down on a piece of paper in plain English and get it signed by both parties. Like, just do something. So that's kind of the second piece. And then the last piece I always categorize as kind of broad, but you've got to understand a little bit about intellectual property, which, Patrick, I know you know about. There's a couple of big issues: copyright and trademark. Copyright protects content. So like it would include like any artistic work that Patrick creates. So that's going to be protected by copyright. My website, protected by copyright. All my designs, all my courses, everything is protected by copyright. It's automatic. The big thing, though, that you need to realize is that means everybody else's stuff is protected too.
Right.
So you can't just go and use it. Like, you can't just grab a picture off the internet you like and use it. You've got to get permission. You can't use music that you've got unless you have the right kind of license to use it and all this. So,
and I see that a lot with just like podcasts. I see people like playing, Journey or whatever. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my God, you're putting yourself in like serious liability, especially, if you're,
yeah. So it's that, but then trademark is just as important, which is basically, trademark is about branding. It's about the source. It's anything that tells people where a good or service is coming from, and where means the company, the person, et cetera. So I use Nike as an example. Nike is a trademarked brand. The swoosh is a trademarked logo, and Just Do It is a trademark slogan. All of that is trademarked by Nike. And you have to be careful about that. And talking about podcasts, a perfect place. You can't pick a podcast name that's similar to someone else's podcast name, or they're going to send you a letter telling you to stop using it and rebrand it. And they don't do that at the beginning. They find you 6 months, a year later, and then you've got all this back catalog that you have to go back and change and rebrand. So don't do it. You need to make sure no one else has the right to use the name. And if you find anything close, just pick a different name. Just don't, especially when you're starting out. You don't have the money to spend on me or someone else. If there's a dispute, just pick a different name,
right?
And be safe.
Right.
So those are kind of the 3 big things I'd say.
Yeah. And going back to just like image use, where, a lot of people will just kind of pull something off of Google because, hey, it's on the internet, I can use it. There have been instances where some of the big, I'm not going to name names, but some of the big name stock agencies have gone after a guy or a lady put a uncopyright, unlicensed image on her blog like several years ago. And they have actually teams of people that actually go out and seek this stuff out on the internet for the sole purpose of basically delivering them a takedown notice. And
no, they don't do takedown notice. What they do is they send you a nice letter saying, we see you used our image. Thank you very much. The licensing fee for that is $5,000. Please remit now. And if you don't, and people come to me with that and like, what do I do? I'm like, well, maybe try to negotiate it down, but you got to pay it because you infringe your copyright. It doesn't matter if you didn't know. It does not matter. Exactly. And like I call it the right click save as problem, because that's how we do it on the mouse, right? You can't do that. Just don't do it on the internet. Don't use Google Images. Yes, there's a way to set Google Images, but I don't trust it. I don't use something that isn't from a site that I have like read the terms of it. And most of the big free ones like Pexels, Pixabay, Unsplash, they're fine.
Yep.
Shutterstock is fine for a paid one. All that, you've got to go to a place like that to get licensed images, and Adobe Stock the same way if you have the thing there. So use one of those, and you'll be fine.
All right. And one last question. I don't mean to drag on the legal side of it, but this is, I see a lot of this too. So GIFs, right? So GIFs are all over, right? Friends, Big Bang Theory, all of the shows and all that stuff. And I always wondered, like, how is that like legally done? Is it because of its parody? Like, how does that fit in, or is it legal to use those?
You probably noticed, Patrick, I don't put them in my emails.
I have noticed.
And I do that on purpose because I do not believe that they're legal. Now, the way that most people, and let me back up because it's a copyright issue. And copyright is one of the, I don't want to say most complicated, but it's a very complicated area of law. And you have to think of it as like a bundle of sticks is the best way to explain copyright. So there are different rights involved. And not only that, different people have a different right. And let me give you a very specific example of this. Whoever wrote the song, like literally just wrote the score, wrote whatever, has a copyright in the underlying music, vocals, etc., like in the actual song, not the performance.
Right.
Then when it's performed, the band who performed it has copyright rights in that performance.
Correct.
And so you think about that. This is where things get very complicated. So this is like, and I use music because I'm guessing your crowd maybe likes music, given you and that. So let's take that to the GIF world. Okay, Friends, copyrighted work. You are not allowed to use it without permission or an exception. So when someone creates a GIF, they are using a copyrighted work. Now, the reason why they probably they would argue that it is a fair use to make it a GIF. Now, fair use is what a lot of people want to rely on. They're like, oh, well, it's a fair use. Fair use is one of the most complicated areas. It is not a clear test. It's not like, well, if I use less than 7 seconds, it's okay. No such rule exists.
Right.
And one of the factors that plays into it is, what is the nature of the use? Is it a commercial use or a non-commercial use? So again, if someone's just creating it for fun, that's a non-commercial use. So it's probably going to be okay. And it's not going to prevent someone from going and watching Friends, right? So that's the other thing they're looking at. Well, if you or I use it in our business, all of a sudden it's for commercial use.
Yes.
But let's step back further. We're not only using Friends, the person who created the GIF has a copyright in that derivative work, which theoretically they could be mad at you for doing. And it's not just GIFs, it's memes too. Like, so there's a classic example. What is it? It's like, I think it was like picture of knives, and I don't remember what the meme was about. But there was something like this that someone literally just saw it somewhere else. They right-clicked, saved as, and posted on their Facebook page. They're now being sued because it went viral. I mean, their post on Facebook like went viral and like had millions of views. And the person who created it said, "No, that's mine."
Right.
And so with all of this stuff, it is ugly. Now, I like to say, and I have not read Facebook's terms of use, but I'm simply assuming that Facebook has lawyers who are pretty darn smart. So if I use their built-in GIF thing to put a comment, I'm pretty sure I'm good because I'm pretty sure their lawyers have edited it.
Yeah.
It's when you start taking it off that I have a problem. Right. And I don't do it because I don't think it's a good idea. And as much as I love GIFs, if the only reason someone's going to open my email is because there's a GIF in it, I got bigger problems.
Right.
So, that's why I don't use it. Now, in Facebook, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Anyone who follows me on Facebook knows, like halftime, like,
Yeah, like you said, if Facebook's making it available to you as a little widget, then, that's on them.
And maybe we shouldn't, but I'm like, Facebook is I don't know if they're $1 trillion, but, probably hundreds of billions of dollar company. I'm pretty sure their lawyers have done the work on that because otherwise they would have been sued 850 times. And so I'm assuming they've done it, and I just, but I live within their rules. But that's a good point within social media more generally.
Right.
As a general rule, as long as you're within their rules, so like if you're sharing an existing post, if you're doing that stuff, you should be okay. It's when you start lifting stuff off and using it elsewhere where you have trouble.
Yeah, and then to bring it back to the music thing, because I play music, play bars and clubs and stuff like that, and mostly covers nowadays. And there's an issue with copyright through the RIAA, which is the Recording Institute of Artists Association or something like that. But most of these venues have to pay basically this tax that enables them to host these performances of the covers. So you're covered that way. So they're the ones that are technically liable for that, but yeah, so it's very similar.
Yeah, and then like you, for example, as an online business owner, you can get like an ASCAP license, which will give you the right to use like ASCAP covered music, which is one of the big licensing companies out there. But again, like I don't do that. I use Audio Jungle. I use Audio Jungle and get royalty free. Like my podcast has an intro, which is, it's a thing that I bought. I don't remember. I think I paid $50 or less to get a.
I like that song. It's got a nice little punk rock feel to it.
Right, exactly. I mean, that's what I was looking for something like that. I was actually trying to figure out if I could chop up a 30-second, if I could find a 30-second piece from like my band in college. I haven't been able to find one that we could actually chop and put together in a meaningful way, but that's still one of my projects on the horizon one of these days.
No, that's when I eventually take my Facebook episodes and put them on iTunes just as audio. I'm gonna pull one of my old band songs as an intro. I've already got it looped and ready to go. So, all right. So let's dig into a little bit of email, because I know that's kind of what your signature product is right now. Anyways, it's email marketing. So of course, I know you as the legal guy, and I still do, but now you're known as the email guy. So how does the Harvard law grad become an email marketing expert?
Okay, and you're opening up for a long answer here, but so what happened was like in 2018, even as I was starting to become successful, I sucked at email marketing, and I sucked because I was using kind of the traditional advice. I would send an email every week about my podcast, and it would basically be in this week's episode. At that time was the Online Genius podcast. In this week's episode of the Online Genius podcast, we're talking about blah. You're going to discover blah, 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 blah. Click here to go listen. I mean, and that would be the email. And because like, well, your email is supposed to drive people to your content. Email is supposed to drive people to your content. And so I was doing that. But let's be honest, I don't know about you, but like when I go through those emails, I'm like, no, thank you. I mean, it's boring. Why would I read it? And especially with a podcast, if you think about it, because not a lot of people are like, oh, let me click on this link in an email to go listen to the podcast. Most of the podcast listens come from people who are subscribed.
Right.
So maybe an email reminds them that it came out, but it is what it is. And so that's what I was doing. And kind of what was happening, because I'd signed up for that program through Amy. Amy was having a live event in August, which we got a ticket to. And the group was still going. And I created this video that was supposed to be for my law firm. And it was about how online entrepreneurs need a different kind of lawyer. So it's kind of like juxtaposing what, traditional business, traditional lawyers, online business, or like entrepreneurs or whatever. And like the only thing of me was like this still image. In people who know me, Patrick, you'll know exactly the picture I'm talking about, in my blue button up shirt, kind of like this as a lawyer, and that was the only thing. And
comical now,
right. It is comical now. It is comical now because now I'm like, I'm wearing t-shirts. I don't really care if people get
total sense.
But anyway, so I posted that in this group, and a person who like I maybe had interacted with her a bit, Melanie Howe, who I know, exactly, her. She like says something like, this video is great, but it needs something. ... And then she posts this. Or not this email, this video. And she posts the SNL More Cowbell skit. If you haven't watched it, go search it on YouTube. It's Christopher Walken and Will Ferrell. Like Will Ferrell's in a band playing, and Christopher Walken's the producer. And he basically just says, we need more cowbell in the song. And every time it's like louder and louder, more cowbell. So it's hilarious. So she posts that. And then she says in the next comment, and the cowbell is you. And her point was that everyone in that group knew me as fun, as approachable, as relatable, as a funny guy. And yet nothing about it was that. So this happens right before the event. Then I go to the event, and another one of my friends, Jillian Bowen, who, if you've been on my email list for a while, she is the email about her podcast episode is one of the most famous, because I think the lines was like, Australia, Russian strippers and content or something like that, because she told a story about how her first love was a Russian stripper. I didn't do it. She did. But anyway, so she's at the event with me. She's chatting, and I made some comment And she's talking like I made a comment that I was thinking about taking a course on how to learn to tell stories. And she looks at me and she says, "The hell are you talking about? You've been telling me stories for 3 hours now." And so she encouraged me to start putting that into my email. And I got a classic moment in that at that event. Amy Porterfield photobombed me, and I sent that picture to my wife. The event was on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast. So I sent it to my wife like that night back in my hotel room. My wife's asleep. I wake up the next morning with a text from my wife. "Why are you sending me pictures of you with random women?" Because she has no idea what Amy looks like.
Right.
So I was like, oops. And so that was literally the story I told. I decided to tell that story
In the email.
in the first email after the event. And that was the first time I did something like that. My open rates went through the roof, but not just that. Like I was getting people responding to me, including someone saying, "I've been on your list for a while. This is the first time I feel like you're a human being, not a business, and I actually want to do business with you."
Yeah.
So they created a monster. And I've gone from there. And part of what I've learned or figured out, it meshes with my overall approach to marketing, is that like too many people are too focused on conversion. Everything is about conversion. Everything is, I've got to get a click. I've got to get this. I've got to get that. And they're always in this, like basically a selling mindset. Even if it's not selling an actual thing, it's always selling. And I've recognized that's not what we should be doing for the most part. For the most part, your email should be a connection mindset. It should be, I want to connect with my people. I want to let them into my world because we are personal brands. And part of it I should also point out is that there's a lot of bad, I don't want to say bad advice. I don't even like saying it's bad advice, but in the online world, we've all heard of StoryBrand. I think this concept of the way you tell your brand story is you're not the hero. So to use a Star Wars reference, you're Obi-Wan Kenobi, not Luke Skywalker.
Guide, yeah.
Right? You're the guide, not the thing. And that's true to a point. That's true for conversion stories. The problem is that people in the online space have taken it too far and said, well, every story I tell should be like that. And I say BS.
Yeah.
I say when you're trying to convert people and get them to buy, yes. Right? That's when you do that.
Right.
But the bigger thing is we got to build the know, like, and trust factor before you can even say, hey, buy my stuff. And what better way to do that than let people get to know you? And so now I'm known, like I first got known for my weekly emails. And my weekly emails are I call it a personal vignette story. Normally it's a story about my life. Oftentimes it makes me look like an idiot, but not always, but it's like a funny thing. Like the email I sent this morning, inviting people to a training I've got coming up. I was talking about how I shouldn't have sued Facebook a couple years ago because I think they're still mad at me. They don't give me audio for reels. They gave me the cares emoji last. So it's like just funny stuff like that. And I posted a funny picture of me like pretending to cry because I'm sad. And so it's just showing my personality. So people are like, well, let me see. It'll do one of two things. Either people are like, I don't like this guy at all. Bye. Or I really like this guy. He's kind of funny. He's fun. He's my kind of person.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah. The goal is like, I mean, again, the goal is to make people make a decision. Do they like me or not? And it doesn't have to be funny. You can do funny. You can do not funny. The point though is make people decide. There's a famous quote, love me or hate me. There's no money in the middle.
Yeah.
If you're an entrepreneur, you need people to either love you or hate you and not be vanilla. And a lot of people do this wrong.
It's scary. It can be scary.
Well, yeah, but there's a bigger caveat I've got to put here. Because a lot of people hear that and I say, okay, I've got to be polarizing. How do I go about being polarizing? No, stop.
Well, it can't be contrived.
Exactly. It's got to be just be you.
Exactly.
Just be yourself and be willing to be yourself and let people get to know you. And, it could be just about anything. I mean, it could be like, again, the fact that I've got guitar pictures behind me tells people something about me. Like if we were zoomed out more.
That resonated with me when I first came into your world. I was like, oh, check out those guitars, like right. Kind of piqued my interest, like so.
And then like behind me on this way and that bookshelf, you can kind of see like for a long time, I had a bunch of business books. That's all I had. And I said, well, that's just dumb. So now like most of the books you see are beer books because I used to brew beer. And so it's like, I'm just letting people get to know me as me. And then I'm telling all of these different stories from my life that I can tie into whatever the message is that I want to get across.
Yes.
And by doing that, people get to know me. And it's the weirdest things. Like I'll send an email about like some speaking event I did in high school back in the 90s. Like the first time I did and told a story about that, I got a couple of responses. One that I should preface this. Half the response I get from people are, I never respond to these things, but
Right.
it's like, that's how they start. And so she responded, I never respond to these things, but I had to do that stupid event too. And it was like just this, not at the same tournament, but the same general thing. And so I do that. And then the other thing that I do that blows people's mind, and I'm not 100% at it anymore because I'm so busy and it kills me, but I do my best. If somebody responds to me, I reply back.
Yeah.
Because like
You're a human.
They took the time to say something. And I like to say, this isn't, some people get mad at this. I'm like, oh, too bad. Get mad at it. I'm like, my audience is kind of like, we're kind of like animals. I want to train them. Like Pavlov's dogs. I want to train them. Hey, if you email me, good results happen.
Right.
And so I'm doing that kind of constantly to like reinforce, hey, let's have a conversation. And this, again, my broader point outside of marketing, outside of email, this is what's so wrong with the online marketing world. The online marketing world is kind of teaching like one-way conversations. Marketing is a two-way conversation.
Yes.
Like the information coming back to me is as important, if not more important, than the information I'm putting out there.
Agreed.
And
yeah.
so I want to encourage that. So like, that's what I'm doing. And so I started training on that stuff, just training on kind of that, and people loved it. And then also like last year in 2019, I started launching. At the time, I was using limited open cart periods for my template library, my big legal pack. And I was launching just doing email, like not doing a webinar, not doing a training, just doing that. And so I don't want to say I pioneered, because yes, people have done email only launches before. But one thing that was kind of different is like my email only launches, I basically took the type of email series that I believed you should write after a webinar, and I just sent that. And I just, I basically started here with
a webinar on legal templates.
Yeah. I mean, without the replay part, I mean, there's no replay email, but everything else was basically what you send after that. And it worked. And so I did a training about that. And then another one of our friends, another kind of branding person in Amy's world, Sabila, said something to me. She said, like, she starts asking me questions like, okay, that's great, but what about a welcome sequence, or is it a nurture sequence, and how does it all fit together, and what do I do? And I was like, again, by the way, example of me listening to my community and getting the information back. So I said, okay, my audience, my community wants me to teach them the entire thing I do with email. And so I created a course, Badass Email Marketing, to fit that need, which teaches kind of the entire journey I take people on, which is like starts, at the moment they come into your world, and then a nurture where you actually build the relationship before you say, hey, buy my stuff. And the idea is, by the time it gets to, hey, buy my stuff, you got a lot of people who are just ready to buy your stuff, and you don't have to push hard. So that's kind of the journey of how I got to the point of teaching this stuff. And people have loved it.
I love it. And I tell you, like, I never considered myself a great writer, although I might, we're all self-deprecating to some degree, but, after taking that course and, learning how to incorporate stories, and then learning sort of the structure on this type of email for this thing, this type of email for that thing, and incorporating your personality, which is a big part of, personal branding. Like, I started getting responses, I told, in fact, just yesterday or this morning, my email went out promoting this episode because it's live. It was talking about when I was like 10 years old. I have two older brothers, so everything was always hand-me-downs, and I always got the shaft on, last slice of pizza or whatever, right? And I always just wanted a brand new bike. I had a bike. It worked fine, but it was a hand-me-down. I wanted a new one. So on my 10th or 11th birthday, I got the new bike. And I was like, oh, and so I was like the envy of all the kids in the neighborhood, and then kind of tied that into, what we're talking about here. And then, and I said, oh, by the way, that bike, it was stolen 2 weeks later, so, but it's so fun telling the stories, and it makes writing so much easier. So definitely check out the email course, because it's huge. And I've gotten responses. Never, ever did I get a response. I've gotten responses in terms of unsubscribes, prior to taking your course, but, incorporating that story method is amazing.
Well, and that's the thing. That's what so many people, and again, I think that's the big thing. Cause like a lot of people, and I saw this, like I see these comments. So Amy Porterfield is in the middle of her like 12-week period of DCA, or her Digital Course Academy, where she's teaching people. I'm in it because I was an affiliate and got enough sales. So I got a free like re-up to be in it again. I've been in it every time. And I'll see these people ask this question, like they're concerned. They're like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to run out of content to talk about if I send an email every week. And I'm like, oh God, no, because that shouldn't be about your content. It should be about you. And that shift frees so many people
Yeah.
up. Because like I hear a lot of people, they're like, well, if I write a blog post, what am I going to put in the email? I mean, I've already said it. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, you don't talk about that. You talk about you.
And I tell you, it changed it for me, because I mean, you can tell a story of something mundane about, oh, I was making a cup of coffee this morning and there was a fly in it, or whatever, just little mundane things that happen to you on a day in, day out basis that you can really start to, incorporate and tie into whatever messages that you're sending out there. It's fun. It's fun to find those sort of connections too,
Yeah. Well, and again, I've told stories about like getting an email from my daughter's school about like a confirmed case of lice in her class last year. I've told a story about like a little 15 seconds of my life where I was going to be a groomsman in one of my friend's weddings. His dad, like we went to the rest, like his dad pulled us aside right before we were about to go out there. Said, we're going to go to the bathroom. We said, we don't need to. He said, you never pass up an opportunity to go to the bathroom. That used to be like the email that I would send out like 15 minutes before a webinar. I was like, the best piece of advice I ever got, and reminder the webinar's coming up. And I tell the story and then say, hey, so go do your business now so you don't have to in the middle of the webinar. And again, it's like those little moments from your life. I mean, what I say is Seinfeld. Think about it. Seinfeld had an entire episode about sitting in a Chinese food restaurant, like waiting area, waiting to get into the restaurant, right? And that's the kind of stuff we need to be thinking about.
Yep.
That's the stuff that lets people into your life. You don't have to write these big epic tales. I mean, sometimes my tales are epic, but most times they're not. So that's what makes it easier, I think, too.
All right. So, is there anything else that I could sit here, I can talk for hours, but, obviously I want to honor your time and, the people watching this as well.
I mean, the big thing that I would say, and this is something that like, I just want to I want to point out to people as they're coming into this online world, like maybe you're just launching business for the first time, or maybe you're coming to the online world from like, business, brick and mortar and all those things. And I had this comment come from like, there's a member of my community who posted this comment thanking me because she'd actually literally taken marketing and had all this marketing knowledge, but then came into the online world 4 or 5 years ago and was convinced by just listening to all the other people that she had to just ditch everything she knew about regular marketing because the online world is just, because they're doing it. And it's just, people are doing it differently. And I tell people, don't do that. I say, marketing in the online world is just marketing, but in the online world. And what's worked for me is in a lot of ways, I act like the small town business or the small town, like store owner, like the guy who has the general store who knows people. Like I'm at events and people come up and say, well, I'm so-and-so. I'm like, oh yeah, I know you bought my templates. They're like, they think it's crazy that I take the time to show the interest in my people.
Yep.
If you will do that. And again, it's the weirdest thing. If you'll just be a human in the online world, you will stand out, which is crazy to say, but it is. And so that's what I encourage everybody to do. Don't ditch like, the stuff that works. I mean, I look at what Apple does. I look at what Nike does. I look at all these companies outside of the online space to inspire me. I don't just look at what people in the online space are doing. Because I think that's an important lesson for people to take. Now, again, emails are going to be different for a personal brand versus a Nike or whatever. But
those are going to be more promotional typically, but they still have your brand sort of persona as a business, Yeah,
exactly. And so I just say, take the time to think those things through and it'll pay off.
All right. So, all right. Well, thanks for that. And, thanks for your time on all of this. I loved having you on. So I want to close with a little fun game. I know one of your core values is having fun in business. That's one of mine. And so I want to play a little game. It's like a stream of consciousness, sort of 5 quick questions. And I'm going to see, I got to pull this up here. I'm going to try to do, there we go. So this is called Brand on the Run. And this week it's with Bobby Klink. And we're going to ask him 5 questions about branding and just get his response. And this is really just to demonstrate, it's It's just to demonstrate like the power of branding, right? You know, whether it's psychological and how that works, right? So I'm going to ask you a question. You just answer it however you want to answer it. All right. So number one, what product or service company immediately comes to mind when you think of the color orange?
Doritos.
Doritos. Okay. When I say live to ride, ride to live, what brand comes to mind?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's Harley, but I'm not sure.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. But that's the power of branding, right? You're sort of like an ancillary, associated with it. So, all right. So now I'm going to put you on the spot. Either recite or sing the first jingle to any brand that first comes to mind.
Give me a break. Give me a break. Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Yeah. Okay. What band, singer, or artist comes to mind when you think of the word outlaw?
Well, so I would say someone who doesn't like, there's a couple of things I would say, like a band most people wouldn't realize is My Brothers, but otherwise I would go with Johnny Cash is what I would say.
Yeah, that's what I was sort of hoping for. But of course, and that's the thing, you know, branding is going to, that might mean something different to somebody else too. So they're sort of like little mini ecosystems, right? What color is the brand color for H&R Block?
Green.
Yep. Without hesitation, right? And then it's just amazing how you know these things, right? And so I have a bonus question, and this is just more of a preference thing because this has sort of probably been an online thing for years and years. And I think you might have even mentioned it once on one of your Facebook posts, but GIF or JIF? What camp are you in?
GIF.
Thank you.
Look, everybody cites that the creator says it's GIF. I'm like, I don't care what he says.
He's wrong.
The closest word in the English language is GIFT, which we say gift. It's graphic.
Yeah. So it stands for graphical interchange format. So right. Yeah,
it's GIF.
It's hard G.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Period. If it were GIF, it would be spelled like the peanut butter.
Agreed. Agreed. All right. Well, that's what we got for you guys today. Bobby, thank you so much for coming on and taking your time. I know we went a little long today, but again, thank you very much. You guys go ahead and check out Bobby's stuff, bobbyklink.com. He's got a ton of stuff coming up. He's got this webinar that's coming up, I think on Thursday. Is that correct?
Yep. On Thursday, I'm going to point out why most online marketers are stuck in the 50s, literally the 1950s. The marketing style they're using went out of vogue in most places in the 50s, but that's what the online world is using, which makes absolutely no sense. But that's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to kind of show you how you actually should be doing it from a marketing perspective using, kind of modern day marketing techniques.
Very cool. Well, again, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you guys next week for another live episode on Tuesday at 11 a.m. We'll see you guys next week.